Today I've got a lot of things that I need to get done, but my main goal is getting a portion of my old manger torn down so that I can start to rebuild my new round bale feeder over at the ranch. There's a couple more little repairs that need to be made to the barn, but before I can do any of that, I want to get my group of pigs out into their big pen because I've had them locked in the little house here since we brought them home, just to give them a feeling of where home base is, but also because I thought there was a few spots in this fence where they could escape. I think I've got all those addressed now, so I'm gonna go ahead and open up the gate here and we'll see what happens. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. My main concern is on this gate here. I think the bars on the gate are far enough apart that they would be able to slip through there if they wanted to. On the little man gate over here, I've got my solution, which is attaching this hog panel to the gate so that they can't get in between these bars. And I'm gonna do basically the same thing on the big gate. So when I open this panel to release them, I'm just gonna walk it right over to the big gate and start hooking it up. We kind of have a tendency to think that as soon as we turn the animals loose, they're gonna go straight for the hole or where we don't want them to go. But realistically, these pigs are gonna be exploring and looking around and honestly probably not wanting to be where I am because they're still at the age where they run away every time they see me. Probably in another, well, they're starting to come around already. I'd say in another week or two, when I come in here, I won't be able to get them away from me. Putting pigs out on grass or pasture is always entertaining, especially at this age when they're very playful. And you will definitely see them chewing on and even eating a lot of the forage that's out here. But don't fool yourself into thinking that that's all they need. Pigs are not ruminants like cattle or sheep. They're monogastrics like we are. So they need more than just this plant matter to chew on. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and give them their daily ration of feed that I give them. And I don't know, they might be too interested in checking out all the new stuff here, or they might dive into it. We'll just have to see. I want to start transitioning the pigs to eating out of the big feeder here. And the reason for that is that they can't move this one around and I can fill it from the other side of the fence. So I won't have to go in the pen with them to fill it. But because they're not used to eating out of this, they're used to their little red bucket here. I'm gonna probably put a little bit in both for a couple days, or at least until I'm pretty sure that they figured out that, well, that this is where the groceries come from. Well, I would say that they're figuring it out pretty good. This feeder is probably not really big enough for 10 of them. I'm gonna have to make sure that it stays full all the time so that they can always have access to feed. And as they get bigger, this will probably become more of a problem. So likely I'm gonna have to figure out a different feeding situation or a better feeder for them. I really like the round drum style where they can feed all around it, kind of almost like a chicken feeder. Those are nice, but they're expensive. Right now the pigs are getting a mixture of the wheat that you guys saw me get in the last video, whatever cracked corn I have left over, soybean meal, and Redmond SR65, which provides the minerals that they need in their ration. I will go into greater detail about how I figure out how much of each ingredient to put in their feed, but we're not going to talk about that in this video. All right, let's gather up some tools and head down to the ranch. Like I said a little bit earlier, the big goal today is going to happen right here, and I basically need to cut a big hole in this fence so that I can build a feeder that comes out here onto the concrete that I can drive the tractor into. I'm not sure if this makes a lot of sense as I say it, because in my head it makes perfect sense, but before we can do anything here, I've got another issue in the barn that needs a little more urgent attention. The cattle have somehow separated the roof beam from the post here, and the post is kind of flopping around now. The roof is really sagging right here, and I want to fix this before the roof actually falls down and the post gets broken off. So I don't think this is going to be real hard, but it's going to take a little bit of figuring because I need to lift this roof back up and get it straight again, and I'm just kind of debating on how I want to do that. I think the easiest way is going to be pulling the 8N in here and using the loader to actually lift the roof up, and then once I get it where I want it, I'm hoping that I can clamp this board back to the post and it'll kind of hold itself in place as I build the structure here to hold it in place permanently. Noise. Alright. Looks good to me. Well, I'm pretty sure that I can take the clamp off now without this whole roof falling down on me. I think that this post has settled a little bit, because it really would make a lot more sense if it was like 6 inches taller, and then everything here would kind of fit together a lot better. This whole side of the barn is just sagging and brittle, and nothing's really quite right here. So I don't really know, what is like the proper way to fix this, but I think what I've got here is going to be good enough for now. Or at least good enough until we do like a major revamp over here. And just because I don't want to have to mess with this again, at least not for a long time, I'm going to add a little angled brace here up in the corner. Really none of the other posts have that, but I think this one is a little bit weaker than the others. So adding that little brace will just kind of help hold everything together and make it a little bit stronger. I think that's about as good as this is gonna get, and it's certainly a lot better than it was. So let's move on to the next thing. We got our use out of these. I might save that. No, sir. Boy, stubborn. I just got to get mad at it, and that's it. Got it. At least the nut turns. I've almost got everything torn down here. It's starting to look like I'm basically finished, but I've got this one big timber here at the end, and it's not rotten. It's not gonna just pop right out of the ground by hand. I'm gonna need some power to get this thing out. I don't think the 8N is gonna pull this out. I don't think it's strong enough. I think that I'm gonna need to get my New Holland and use the 3-point arms to lift it up. You know, on second thought, I gotta get the 8N out to move this pile of stuff that I took down. So I may as well just try to pull this out of the ground with it, and if it works, it'll save me a lot of time moving equipment around, and if it doesn't, well, then I'm no worse off than I am now. I guess I underestimated the little 8N because, to be honest, it didn't even struggle that bad pulling that post out. Guys, this almost never happens. I got everything done that I set out to do today. I got the pigs moved into their bigger pen. I got this roof fixed where it was drooping so bad, and I got this entire part of the bunk feeder removed so that now it's just a matter of building the new one. If I haven't explained this very well in the past, I'm going to try to now, but it's kind of hard to just, you know, point to stuff without really having anything to show you yet. But the idea is going to be to make sort of like a cutout feeder here, where I've got 12 feet of bunk space coming out, 8 feet going across, and then 12 feet back in. So the point being, or the idea being, that I can pull in here with the tractor in the middle of the feeder and set bales down, and then the cattle can surround them and come and eat them. Basically, I don't have to drive the tractor through the cows to fill the feeder up. I thought long and hard about the best way to do this, and this was the best that I could come up with. And the reason being that I've already got concrete here. This is right next to where I store the bales. And I think that this will just be the best for what I can do right now. Originally, I was thinking to bring this feeder out 24 feet, and then the entire herd would be able to eat at this all at the same time. The problem with doing that is I was gonna have to pour so much more concrete to make this work that that just wasn't in the cards this year for a multitude of reasons. I should be able to feed over 20 cows at a single time at this feeder, and if it looks like some of the cows are getting shorted or whatever, then I can use my portable feeder that I'm going to make and have like 2 different areas where I can feed them at the same time. And that should ensure that the dominant cows and the less dominant cows can get something to eat. I've got most of the metal to do this. I need to get a little bit of concrete, and I need to buy a bunch of 1-inch pipe for my angled slats that I'll make in the feeder itself. But the rest of the stuff I've got, so I can start putting this together as soon as I get some time. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.